So you're not happy with what I said about him, the Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family music. That was the biggest thing that you weren't happy with.
That wasn't the biggest thing. That's just what stood out most as peculiar, your opinion of the music. Because I happen to think it's one of the best wrestling themes in a decade.
You know what? I listened to it in the car today, and yeah, it's not country. It's just
No.
it's actually like that somber alternative grunge.
Exactly. So you see why I dig it.
Exactly. I'm not the biggest grunge guy, but
Right.
I think it's because I thought their promos were cheesy. I didn't take any of the stuff serious. Like it was bizarre, but it was kind of like I thought it was something goofy that TNA would do.
Okay, I can see where you're coming from on that. Here's my opinion. I think the reason it stood out as cheesy and kind of different and almost like a step back in a way is because it was very reminiscent of like the first Mankind promos or like the first Kane promos. Or, oddly enough, what I would compare it to is, do you remember when Barry Windham was debuting as the Stalker?
Oh, yeah, I remember a little bit, yeah.
First of all, Barry Windham is Bray Wyatt's uncle.
Yeah, that's right, yep.
And second of all, Barry Windham, when he was coming through, like, he had a bunch of promos or vignettes where he was in camo face paint talking about how he was going through the woods and was going to find people and kill them or whatever, or shoot them with a crossbow like Shawn Michaels, whatever.
Yeah.
But, and, you know, it's been a long time since we've seen promos like that. Usually it's just something like Brodus Clay before he came out as the Funkasaurus, where it just shows them wrecking house in the ring and black and white footage of them beating someone up, and that's it. This is the first time where we have like a story we're supposed to believe in. It's almost like the return of the gimmick.
You're right, but they've been. I've noticed that they've been bringing back these gimmicky. In fact, I crapped all over Brodus Clay a while ago.
The Funkasaurus gimmick. Yeah, I can agree.
I crapped all over it, and then after a little while, I was like, you know what, this is actually working, and this was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little worried when I started going off about the Wyatt family. I've been so bad that I have been almost ignoring it because they've been like, you know, people make a comment about it, and I just dismiss it because I think it's horrible. And then there's a debate between them and the Shield, and I don't think it's even close.
No, I agree there. The Shield has already established themselves as capable. Another problem that might be holding you back is the fact that the tag team of the Wyatts, aside from Bray himself, aren't really too great in the ring. Like, they don't really seem to know what they're doing. Yeah. But, in my opinion, that kind of works out because their whole thing is they're just some backwoods hillbillies. And when you look at Luke Harper, the guy who's not wearing the onesie, the guy who's actually wearing jeans and the wife beater, he looks sloppy, but it's a controlled sloppiness to where you almost believe that this guy is just beating the shit out of someone.
Yeah, it is some hills have eyes type of shit.
Yeah, man.
But I think it's a little bit, if it wasn't so like if there wasn't that little bit of cheesiness, I would actually like it.
But if it wasn't for the little bit of cheesiness, then they'd completely ignore the kids, and kids wouldn't get it, and kids wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, but I think you're ignoring the fact that I don't...
They at least want the kids to hate them, not be confused by them, you know?
I don't give a shit about the kids, though. That's
but
my problem.
But you have to, because there's no money without the kids, and without... I mean, are you buying pay-per-views and T-shirts all the fucking time? Because I'm not.
You're right. 70% of the audience is an adult.
Yeah.
In a WWE audience. But 70% of the pay-per-view buys come from people under 18, I believe.
Exactly. Or at least their parents.
Well, exactly, yeah. That's what it... Because... I'm watching this shit for free on an internet stream because WWE has had such horrible pay-per-views recently that I don't even attempt to buy it. I'm going to buy SummerSlam, I'll say that.
Yeah, same here, and WrestleMania, but...
I always buy WrestleMania, right. Alright. I'm eating some fucking steak.
I don't blame you.
But, so, and maybe this is initially, so there's been 2 times when I've really fucked up with my opinions, where I've gone back and been like, man, I was really an idiot. And the first one is a long time ago with Zack Ryder. And the second time was with Brodus Clay.
Wait, you liked Zack Ryder or didn't like Zack Ryder?
When I didn't like him.
I think you were right.
Well, but then he built up all this steam. Mm-hmm. And, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So he built up all this steam, and, like, people were chanting for him after Raw went off the air every week. And there was a huge push for him. Everybody liked him all of a sudden. It was like what's going on with Dolph Ziggler and Daniel Bryan. You know, the people were starting to, you know, want to see Ryder win. and I think it was because they were kind of like, "F you, WWE, stop pushing John Cena and Sheamus on us."
Right, but I think what the problem was is, all right, the ideas behind why we should have gotten behind Zack Ryder, because I myself was pushing for him to make it and do better, and even I was a Zack Ryder fan, like, oh yeah, man, this guy's got a YouTube show, he's doing it right, he's pushing himself, he created his own character, like, let this fly, man. But then, as I watched him in the ring and watched his mic skills, and his character just never really went anywhere, which granted, yes, they didn't really give him too much to work with, but on top of it all, they didn't give anyone too much to work with. It's working with very, very little and being good at it that makes you a great superstar. So I think our ideas behind, all right, well, let's push someone who really deserves it, who's working hard for themselves, let's do that. And they kind of ran with it, and they listened to the fans like, okay, see what happens when you just pick someone random and we let them fly crazy? Like, it works out very poorly sometimes. Like, that's not the mark of a good superstar. Dedication and perseverance are important, but if that's all you have, then you're not going to go very far, And it's something that they don't usually measure, perseverance and dedication, but once again, you need to bring something else to the table on top of that.
I think they sabotaged him when they put, because I thought he had all that steam and everything was good. Even when he cut a crappier promo, I think they killed him with Eve. I think they were like, once they did that thing with Eve, he died. That's when he died.
It is true. Like, when you're building someone up and trying to push them, the last thing you want to do is put them in a wheelchair.
Yeah. And I think that WWE, I think the whole thing is WWE's like, all right, we're going to put him on TV, but we're not going to, they didn't do anything that would allow him to succeed or even allow him to get that momentum. They literally just killed him with Eve. I mean, everyone was angry at that and befuddled by it, and they bored us with it. And then his interaction with her was bad, and maybe that is the part you're talking about, because his mic skills or whatever,
right.
just, he never, like, oh, Eve, you're totally like, whatever, and it was just like, exactly. Oh, this is what he is. Okay, well. But if they had taken him out of that, I think if he had just kind of moved a little bit away from his character that he was doing, and been just, this is Zack Ryder, that would have taken off more.
Exactly. That's what he needed to do, was shift it up. The problem was, he was sitting there saying, okay, I've created this character for myself, let me run with it. And they were like, okay, fine, you can have freedom. And then he's complaining, creative won't do anything for me. And it's like, well, that's because they don't know how to work with a character they didn't create. You can't create your own, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't create your own character and then rely on creative to give that character cool things. You have to come to creative and say, how about my character does this? Since I've created this character, I think it will work well here. And he didn't step up.